By the time I got to Columbia High School, my class was about 500, and there were 50 Afro-American. Now, I look at Columbia High School, and it seems to be predominantly, or maybe 50 or 55% Afro-American, something we would have never dreamed of.
Musician Earl May's wife, Lee, grew up in South Orange, even then a town very conscious of its racial makeup.
Back in the 60s, my parents used to have what they called evening discussions, and they would have people from different neighborhoods come and talk about the town. And that was one of the questions that was always asked. Is race really an issue, or should it be?
Racial balance in a community was an issue 40 years ago, and it is today.
If you look at housing markets that are exclusively white or exclusively black, that there tends to be a devaluation of properties in communities that are predominantly black.
Which is why these South Orange residents have organized to keep the races balanced in each neighborhood of their town.
In our neighborhoods, we have an Eastern strategy and a Western strategy. In the Eastern strategy, we would look to bring in the underrepresented group, which for a while was the white population. In the western end of town, the underrepresented group tended to be people of color. So we tried to develop strategies to encourage people to move to those particular neighborhoods.
South Orange jazz musician Don Braden has noticed the results.
There's been a balanced inflow of people. You know, as I said, there's some turnover. Pretty much a black family moves in, a white family moves in, a black family moves in, a white family moves in. Everybody's upper middle class, everybody's cranking, and it's all good.
Good socially and financially.
It's supply-demand, basically. To the extent that we can have a housing situation that appeals to people of all races, we've got more people wanting to buy, and the more people you have in the pool, the higher the prices tend to be.
In America, it's said if you have one drop of African-American blood in your family tree, and you're labeled black for life. When it comes to communities, the so-called tipping point is about one African-American citizen out of 3, and the town gets the label, Black Town. It's a label that can have profound economic consequences.
Because that's what happened to East Orange. And the apartments that are on Munn Avenue and on Harrison Street, which had been upscale luxury apartments, began to fall down. My parents used to say it's because the landlords didn't care anymore because black people were living in, you know. But the bottom line is East Orange became known as a black suburb, and things fell apart.
People would come here to shop because we had everything that they had in New York.
When East Orange Mayor Robert Bowser was growing up, the town was a prosperous white majority suburb. Then came riots in the inner city black ghetto of next-door Newark. Whites fled, and today East Orange is the blackest city of its size in America, 95% African American.
My hope is that really we become a shining star because of the high percentage of people of color in the community.
Many believe East Orange started to come back in 1998 when Mayor Bowser took office. The main shopping street, Central Avenue, is still today struggling. But public education scores have improved, and schools, some of them named for local stars like actress Cicely Tyson and singers Whitney Houston and Dionne Warwick, have been rebuilt or rehabilitated. The East Orange Police Department is now known for its high-tech equipment and its innovative campaign against criminal gangs. And in recent years, Mayor Bowser has been busy building and selling affordable housing.
This is called the Greenwood Redevelopment Area, which is 24 square blocks.
This is a big investment for the city of East Orange, and unfortunately, just as you made it, the housing market nationally tanked.
We have not really felt that, but so far that the downturn, I think it's so general that it doesn't really apply to us that much right now.
It sure applies to East Orange resident Felicia James, who bought and meticulously rehabilitated her dream home in 2002.
When we bought it, it didn't have any insulation. The windows were bad. The roof was good. We had to change the boiler system.
Then Valicia got divorced and refinanced the house. And then she got sick and lost her job and refinanced again.
In 2006 is when I really started going downhill and was hospitalized for like pulmonary embolism, back problems. I had a lot of medical problems. My boss pulled me off the job and told me I had to go on permanent disability because I wasn't functioning like I used to.
This is my mother's room.
Through all of this, Valicia never missed a payment on her home. But she was less than a week away from doing so when we met her. She was resigned to losing her home to foreclosure.
Well, it's very depressing, and it takes a lot for me to just get up every day and just face the world and smile. And we all had Christmas, and I was calling it the Last Supper. Right now, the only place I can see I'm going right now is a shelter, because where am I gonna go?
We told Valicia to call Glenn Arnold, East Orange's Director of Neighborhood Preservation.
We have a very high foreclosure rate. We have been working to form a foreclosure task force to address the concerns regarding foreclosures.
Recently, Arnold has seen a lot of cases like Valicia James's.
A lot of lenders were offering products where people could get in pretty easily and get assistance. And when the mortgage adjusted, it really hit them pretty hard. When we talk to homeowners about their foreclosure, the first thing we need to let you know is that don't get discouraged. Don't get upset, because it'll work out in the end, believe me.
As Glenn interviewed Valicia, a startling fact emerged. Some advice she had gotten when she told her lender that she might for the first time miss her mortgage payment.
They told me there's no way they could help me, but if I have to call them like the day after it's due.
As Glenn told her, that was terrible advice.
Having come in before you miss that payment puts you in the best position that you could be in. If you had waited a month, 2 months, 3 months, then the whole foreclosure process would start, and then that gets into a whole different animal. If you want to keep your house, you want to fight to keep your house, we're going to try and find a way to make that happen. It's all right. You'll hang in there, okay?
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
It's going to cost East Orange to cope with Valicia James's foreclosure problem. Glenn's office and several other East Orange departments and non-governmental organizations will all be involved. But if she loses her home, taking care of her and her extended family will be much more expensive, not to mention a human disaster, of which East Orange already has its share. More than 60% of all East Orange mortgages are subprime, and many of them are in trouble. All across America, subprime foreclosures are hammering African American communities. Foreclosure rates in the state of New Jersey are 3 times higher for blacks than for white homeowners.
The light here is so much nicer.
In this grim situation, there are 2 new factors that might mitigate the losses.
Yeah, this is nice.
First off, in 2008, there are more blacks with money to invest than ever before in America. And they're looking to buy and maintain long-term properties which years ago might have been abandoned.
Property over time appreciates, but over the long term, 10, 15 years from now, both my home as well as those other properties will appreciate to the point that I could either take equity out, or if I have these kids that I keep mentioning, I could sell one of those properties and send them off to college.
And second, in 2008, there are more successful African Americans like Don Braden, securely rooted in successful integrated suburbs.
To my mind, this area is doing it right. So I'm aligning myself with the ones who are doing it right. I'm putting my money, I'm paying my taxes, I'm putting my money in the businesses of a region which has created a very balanced and beautiful place to live.
Clement Alexander Price, the historian of the American suburban migration, thinks Don Braden has made a wise choice for himself and his country. South Orange, he says, points America in the right direction.
If suburbs can promote themselves as a kind of a striver's row, as a social terrain that believes in diversity, as a place where the schools are really going to figure out how to educate Johnny and Jane, race notwithstanding, it may be the place where the benefits of the civil rights movement will take hold.
One South Orange resident says that Giants of Jazz concert makes her believe that Dr. Price is right.
The passion, I think, that event evokes. The fact that we have an audience here that can support an event like that. I think it reflects on the savvy and the sophistication of the community.
For South Orange, surviving the credit crisis should be relatively easy. But in East Orange and much of America, the black migration to the suburbs, more integrated communities, and more equal opportunity for growing wealth could all be in serious trouble.
Don Braden, David Weiss, Antonio Hart, Michael Dees, Willie Jones III, Paul West, Larry Hamm. Thank you, guys.